The Ultimate Survival Guide. If you ever get stranded in a situation in which you must be able to survive through your knowledge and instincts, you must be both physically and mentally prepared to do so. The Ultimate Survival Guide will show you how to survive an emergency situation in which one must be able to make decisions, improvise, and remain calm. Fear. For anyone faced with wilderness emergency survival situation, fear is a normal reaction, unless an emergency situation has been anticipated. Fear is generally followed by panic, then pain, cold, thirst, hunger, boredom, and loneliness. It's extremely important to calmly assess the situation and not allow these 7 enemies to interfere with your survival. Pain. Pain may often be ignored in a panic situation. Remember to deal with injuries immediately before they become even more serious. Thirst. Dehydration is a common enemy in an emergency situation and must not be ignored. It can dull your mind, causing you to overlook important survival information. Hunger. Hunger is dangerous but seldom deadly. It may reduce your ability to think logically. How to build a fire. Be sure to build yours in a sandy or rocky area, or near a supply of sand and water, as to avoid forest fires. The most common mistake made by those attempting to build a fire are choosing poor tinder, failing to shield precious matches from the wind, and smothering the flames with too large pieces of fuel. Tinder, a highly flammable material used for catching the spark for fire, comes in various forms, such as dry grass, paper or cloth, dry bark. Place your tinder in a small pile, resembling with the driest pieces at the bottom. 2 ways of creating fire are: allow the sun rays to pass through a magnifying glass onto the tinder. The flint and steel method is one of the oldest and most reliable methods in fire starting. Aim the sparks at the pile of dry tinder to produce a fire. Build a shelter. Before building your shelter, be sure that the surrounding area provides the materials needed to build a good fire, a good water source, a shelter from the wind. It's extremely important that your shelter is protected at the bottom and the sides from factors such as wind and snow. Wilderness shelters may include natural shelters such as caves and overhanging cliffs. If you do use a cave for shelter, build your fire near its mouth to prevent animals from entering. Enlarge the natural pit under a fallen tree and line it with bark or tree buds. Finding food. In order to survive, you must be sure to eat and keep hydrated throughout the day. To do so, search your territory for such elements. The biggest sources for food would be the ocean and the forest. Search for fruits which can be found in trees and bushes. You will need protein to keep strong and keep fighting to survive. Search for something that would be useful as a weapon and strong enough to kill some sort of animal, which would provide you with a lot of meat. By using a sharpened weapon, you can kill your prey in a way that it won't suffer. Create the courage to stab it with your weapon and cook it with your fire, or else you might catch a disease, making it harder for you.
Akio! Akio! so hungry. Let's stop.